Hello, what's up, Guru Nation? How's it going, everybody? We are here tonight, whenever you're listening for the Guru Nation podcast. I'm your host, Spencer the Guru, here with my loyal co-host, Josh Como. What's poppin', bro?
Oh, not too much, man. Super excited today. Super excited for the topic that we have today, man. We're gonna be talking about my favorite position in all of football, and I can't wait for it. So I'm ready.
Right, man. Yeah, we're gonna dive into this crazy quarterback situation here, and what's shaping up to be, as we can see on the screen, potentially the craziest quarterback offseason in NFL history. If all this smoke pans out, and like the old cliche goes, where there's smoke, there's fire. Not always the case with the NFL. A lot of times, hot rumors get spread. But I mean, hey, this offseason, I feel like could see some serious quarterback movement, which is always a spicy topic because that shakes up everything. NFL wise and fantasy wise, so yeah, I'm ready to get into this, man. I know it's gonna be fun. Let's buckle up.
Absolutely.
So we are now going to get into this quarterback talk as well as maybe at the end a little Super Bowl talk. The Super Bowl not until the weekend after this, but I mean we could still maybe throw some of that in there. Maybe a little Pro Bowl, Senior Bowl. We'll see how it goes.
Gross.
They got some topics, but the main topic though will be quarterback. So if you've been wondering about all this potential quarterback movement with all the rumors getting started, well, you're in luck because this is the show for you. But that's the main thing we're talking about. So we're gonna get into it here by touching on the main name that's been getting thrown around as far as him getting traded, and that's Deshaun Watson. And I know that's one of your favorites, Josh. He's an ultra talented quarterback and has just really gotten fed up with his current team. I mean, the Houston Texans. Yeah, I mean, if I'm being real, just haven't treated him right. I mean, considering just how good he is, I'm normally not one to advocate for star treatment, but I mean, he's somebody that I'm not saying to like give him like advantage over other players, but just at least kind of include him a little bit in the discussion with stuff. Kind of like I feel like the Bucks with Bruce Arians did that with Tom Brady this year, and then the Saints. I feel like Sean Payton would always want to get Drew's input when it came to anything like with the offense and like big picture type stuff. I'm not saying like those guys call the shots, but I feel like they earn the right to kind of have a little bit of like input. And Deshaun, I know he's a lot younger than them, but I feel like in today's era where I mean it's a star driven league, I feel like that he got a tad bit disrespected, especially considering he wasn't even informed of not even he wasn't even involved he wasn't even informed, much less involved in who the Texans are hiring as GM and head coach. He found out according to him on Twitter. He said he found
Right.
out on Twitter
Right.
about both, and that just I could see where that would piss him off. I mean, that'd be like it's just it's like you're at a job, right? And you're one of the top employees, and then it's like you want to like you're moving up, like doing great, and then it's like they're doing all this stuff behind your back, and you kind of feel just in the dark. So it's almost like the owner is trying to show that I'm bigger than you, Deshaun. But I mean, the bottom line, if it wasn't for Deshaun Watson, the Texans would might be the worst team in the league. And if he gets dealt, which I think he will, I don't know about you guys, but I think he ends up getting dealt just because I think the owner is going to want to show that it's bigger than you, Deshaun. We'll trade you. And I mean, what do you think,
Okay.
man?
I want to let you get all that out because
Yeah,
here's the
it's a
deal.
lot, y'all. It's a
I hope
lot.
y'all get ready because I'm about to go off right now. Okay, this is not only one of my favorite. This is my absolute favorite quarterback in the league. He's been my guy since he came in the league. Basically, since he did what he did at Clemson. I mean, if you watch what he did against Alabama a few years back, that's the only performance that you can watch and you can say rivals the '06 Rose Bowl with what Vince Young did against USC. That type of spectacular performance. Deshaun Watson is the only person that you can say pretty much rivaled what Vince Young did in that amazing '06 Pro. So he's been my guy since he came out of college, and he's done no disappointment in the NFL. I mean, the only problem that you can even say that you can have with Deshaun is the injuries that he's had. But I mean, when he's on the field, he is not just a superstar talent. This guy is a generational style quarterback. He's a franchise quarterback. Okay, he was absolutely disrespected by the Houston Texans because not only do they suck, all right, not only did they not get his input at all when it came to everything going on with the coaching. I mean, they've done hardly nothing to put talent around him. They've basically said Deshaun is amazing. Go out there and win us games. And yes, he's got a few good wide receivers. They have J.J. Watt, one of the best, if not the best, defensive talent that we've seen in a long time. But they've gotten no help on the offensive line. They traded for one offensive lineman that stays hurt, but they have no other offensive weapons. They got him a 31-year-old running back, which he's still good. David Johnson's still good, but let's be honest.
He ain't what he used to.
No, he's not breaking the backfield. All right, so they've done nothing to help this guy out, and still, this guy led the league in passing. I'm going to say that again. He led the league in passing yards this year with that dumpster fire of an organization. This guy is just an absolute monster. He's an absolute generational talent. And it really pisses me off that people lately are saying that he... Yeah, no, it pisses me off that people are saying, oh, I can't believe Deshaun Watson wants out. He's so unloyal. Let me tell you something. I'm all for people honoring their contracts. I'm all for that. All right. I'm also all for people, if they're being mistreated, wanting to go to a different situation as long as it is handled correctly. The people that are saying he did not handle this correctly can kiss my ass. All right. Seriously, like, I'm sorry there's even any of you listening, but let me try to change your mind real quick. Deshaun Watson literally handled this situation the best way that he possibly could. Yes, he signed an extension last year. Should he have not done that? Probably not. But he did. And then he probably immediately regretted after he did it. And it's at the point now where he's demanded a trade, but not really gone out and like absolutely demand. Like, he's not talking shit on the Texans organization. He's not talking bad about anybody on the team or anything like that. This guy's literally just kind of kept to himself and kept quiet, about as quiet as he possibly could, being a superstar that wants to go to another team. He's pretty much kept it as civil and as professional as he possibly can. So this notion that he's unloyal and doesn't... How much loyal do you want a guy like that in his mid-20s that could absolutely push for a Super Bowl on the right team right now? How much loyal do you want him to be to a team that just absolutely sucks, that has one of the worst rosters in the league? Like you said, if he wasn't on this team, I think they absolutely would be the worst team in football. I mean,
yeah, their defense went to total shit this year.
It's horrible. It's not even shit. It's horrible. Like,
yeah, that's part of why, in a way. I mean, I know he's great, but that's probably part of the reason why he led the league in passing yards.
Right, because he's throwing 50 passes a game.
Yeah, it's like he has nothing to work with. They traded his best receiver, Nuclear Hopkins, and when another thing, which kind of went behind his back. So, like, it's just... Yeah, it sucks. I mean, because, I mean, if you're a Texans fan, which I'm glad I'm not, I mean, you would think, like, man, they had everything going, you know, when he got into the league, they drafted him. You know, basically all they needed at that point was a franchise quarterback. They had a great defense in place. They had skilled players in place. They had everything. And then Watson got hurt his rookie year. But then he came back. He's shaking back and been great ever since. But everything else then's gone to crap. So
right.
It's
and
like,
and now we're hearing the new GM come out and saying he has no plans to trade Deshaun Watson. That the reason why he was brought there to be with the Texans is because Deshaun Watson's going to be a Texan. Dude, I'm telling you right now, if that man forces Deshaun Watson to stay in, he's going to go down as one of the worst GMs in history, because this man is begging to get out right now, and his teammates are supporting it. How often do you
might
see...
as well just take what you can give for him. You're gonna get like 3 firsts.
Dude, how crazy is it that we have a guy of this talent that wants out, and his teammates are saying, "Yep, absolutely, dude. We get it. We understand it. We hope that they find something." That is unheard of. All right, this is something that we probably have never seen before. At least something that I can't remember that we've seen before. It might be something that we don't see for a long while again. Somebody that's this talented, this young, and is going to possibly be getting traded. Like, it's really...
Yeah, especially in the NFL. I mean, the NBA, that happens every month, it seems like. But that's a whole different deal. But the NFL, I mean, you don't see that too much. Like we said, the beginning quarterbacks very rarely get dealt these days unless it's become the franchise tag era. And, I mean, we have on this chart here, we have our... this was what happened last year. You know, this was just the quarterback depth charts from last year. You know, still have Phillip Rivers on it. I mean, he retired. I mean, Drew Brees likely retiring. But, I mean, this is just kind of give you all a rundown of how it shook out last year. And then I have... This is my predictions right here. I know me and Josh were talking before the show. Don't agree on all these. But we're going to get into these here pretty soon. Though we've been
Right. Well,
talking about.
I'll jump into them
You're
right
right.
now.
Yeah.
We'll
Say we've
stay,
been talking with about Watson
Yep.
and like we were saying like about just trade him. You know, he could get. The GM would be smart to trade him because look, these like the Dolphins, Jets, you know, teams like that, they have ammunition to give up. You know, they've got a lot of first, a lot of draft picks in the can, and they also both have young quarterbacks on cheap rookie contracts. So the Texans, as a result, they could get the Watson contract off the books and just kind of start over. I mean, you've got a new coach, a new GM. I mean, I know the new head coach is an older head coach, David Culley, but I think they kind of hired him to kind of like change the culture type thing. Because Bill O'Brien just seems that's another reason why they fell apart was Bill O'Brien.
That's the main reason why.
Yeah,
they fell apart.
exactly. Yeah, so I think now they're trying to like cleanse the O'Brien, just the O'Brien odor, I guess. It's like O'Brien was basically like a big nasty like, I mean, I don't hate onions like an onion like has a strong smell. He's like a freaking just like a big bag of onions, and just he kept trying to get the smell out now, you know, like it's just like ugh, like but yeah, the cleanse with the new stuff. I feel like with Watson, they like the bridge was burned, and you might as well trade him, start over, get a haul of picks. I mean, even with Watson, what were they this year? 4-12 or some crap.
Yeah,
they were really bad. So I mean, so that just goes to show you're not winning with Watson. You might as well start over and trade him. So I think they're gonna swing a huge trade with the Jets and get. Our prediction is they get the 2021 and 2022 first, 2021 second. So basically 3 draft picks, along with Sam Darnold, who's still on a cheap rookie contract, and I feel like could still be a potentially good quarterback. Not on the level of Watson, but somebody that if you have a lot of support around him, which he didn't have on the Jets. I mean, he had basically no support. It's kind of like with Bill O'Brien, Adam Gase was the same type thing as Bill O'Brien.
You didn't hear one of the ESPN what do you call it? The experts came out and said that Deshaun Watson's basically just a slightly upgraded version of Sam Darnold. So according to them, you're wrong, Spence. Sam Darnold's gonna go to the Texans and do exactly what Deshaun Watson did.
Right? Yeah. He shoot the defense is so bad he might lead the league in passing yards. But I tell you this, if he does, he'll throw a hell of a lot more interceptions. That's for sure. Because that's his biggest bug.
Yeah. Let me give you a spoiler alert. He's not gonna go over there and lead the league in passing yards. He's not gonna go do what Deshaun Watson did.
Right? Yeah. He'll throw. I think if he over there, this is what I'm thinking happens. You know, I think Deshaun ends up with the Jets because I mean I think the Dolphins, you know, they could swing it, but I think they still somewhat believe in Tua. Whereas the Jets, I feel like Sam is just, I mean, it was his year 3, and it still just didn't really work out. I mean, they almost went winless. So I mean, yeah, I think it's this start, cleanse. You know, these are both teams that need a good cleanse, just start over. You know, both have new coaches, new front offices, start over with new quarterbacks, and so I think a trade like this would be a win-win for both organizations.
Right. So, unfortunately, I do agree with you, and I say unfortunately because in no way do I want to see Deshaun Watson go to the Jets, because basically you're going from probably the worst roster to the other worst roster in the league. And
at least they have cap space.
At least they have cap space, and at least they have a new head coach.
And Robert Saleh, like him. Yeah.
Yes, I do think it would be a better situation, but it's not where I selfishly want him to go. I do agree with you. I think he'll end up with the Jets just because I simply think that they have the most that they can give to him, or they can give to the Texans right now for him. But putting it out there somewhere where I want him to go, and this is me talking selfishly because I really want him to go somewhere where he can compete right now for a Super Bowl, and I have him in Dynasty as my quarterback. So obviously I want him to go somewhere where he can push for the quarterback 1 in fantasy very easily. So a couple places I want him to go. The Colts was number 1. That ain't going to happen because they're in the same division.
Yeah.
The Dolphins was another one. I agree with you. I don't think that's going to happen either. I think they're going to stick with Tua, and I think they're going to see what they got with him. But 2 teams in the NFC that I'm very curious about, that I would really like to see what could happen. I don't know what exactly they'd be able to give up, but there are 2 teams that I feel like that could be ready to win with him right now, and that's the 49ers and the Chicago Bears. Now, the 49ers, I feel like
I wouldn't want the Bears. Ugh. I'd rather him on the Jets than the Bears.
Why?
It's just the Bears, man. That's just Matt Nagy. That's just a total disaster.
I understand what you're saying, but Chicago's defense with Deshaun Watson, good luck with that. That's all I'm going to say. Good luck, everybody else. With that defense, with
It's
Deshaun
not,
Watson.
it's not
Granted,
that good anymore.
Chicago's line still needs a lot of work.
Yeah, Chicago.
But they would immediately.
That would
But
be
here's the deal.
depressing
Okay,
if
but
he
here's the
ended
deal.
up there.
Here's the deal. You're automatically giving Deshaun Watson three things if you bring him to the Bears. You're automatically giving him an elite defense. You're automatically giving him an elite wide receiver one. You're automatically giving him a really good, solid running back one in Dave Montgomery.
Yeah, as if they get A-Rob back. I mean,
Now,
A-Rob
yes, they would have
out.
to.
He's
Right.
about to have his fill
if
over
you bring
there.
Deshaun Watson there, I'm pretty sure that's going to sway Allen Robinson to want to stay.
Yeah, that's a good
because
point.
it looks like Allen Robinson might want to actually go play with Deshaun Watson with the Jets. If Deshaun Watson goes to the Jets, that's a whole nother story for if that would happen. But I'm saying if he were to go to Chicago, I'm pretty sure that would sway Allen Robinson to entice him to want to take a deal to come back to Chicago. So you're immediately giving him those three things. But I do feel like the 49ers would be a better situation because you're giving him, again, a really good
definitely. That'd be a great situation.
You're giving him a really good elite style defense with everybody coming back. You're giving him two solid wide receivers.
Oh, yeah, Debo, Ayuk. Oh, man, that'd be
You're
awesome.
giving him a three-headed monster at running back that have shown that no matter which one's in the game, they're going to produce. And then you're giving him a head coach in Kyle Shanahan that is arguably one of the best offensive minds in the league. And you're giving him a massive upgrade offensive line. So the 49ers is the best situation in the entire NFL for Deshaun Watson.
I hope that don't happen. The NFC,
right.
Good luck. The rest of the NFC.
Obviously, as Saints fans, we wouldn't like to see that happen just because that pretty much wrecks us for the next.
Yeah, that wrecks everybody, I'd say.
Right.
That wrecks the whole NFC. To me, the 49ers would instantly be the favorite.
But as a Deshaun Watson fan, I'm going to just say it. That's where I want him to go. So
right, yeah. I mean, it would be cool to see from his standpoint. It's just, do they have the assets for that? I mean, I don't know. A team like
I don't know what they'd have to give up to get him. I feel like they would have to give up a slightly less deal than the Jets, and it would have to be one of those situations where, because if we remember, Deshaun has his no trade clause, so he has to waive that whenever he wants to be traded. So basically,
he'll waive it if like the 49ers.
Right.
Yeah, will he waive it for the Jets? I think he will because of Salah.
So, but what I'm saying is, let's say, obviously the Jets are going to be able to offer a better offer than the 49ers. Does he hold off on the Jets and say no, but take away the no trade clause for maybe a lesser offer for the 49ers? Do they allow him to do that? We don't know. That's what's going to be very interesting to see within the next couple, I guess, a few weeks, months. I don't know how long it's going to take for
probably if something does happen, I think it'd be before the NFL draft this year.
Yeah, for sure.
With him, because I feel like if the Texans play hardball, then they'll probably just want to stick with him. Or if they trade him, they might want to, even if they get Darnold, they still might want to draft somebody else in case Darnold doesn't pan out, or Tua or whoever they would get.
Yeah.
Or if it's the 49ers, maybe Jimmy Garoppolo. It's just, none of those are sure things like Deshaun, obviously.
But there's my Deshaun Watson rant.
Oh yeah, we had to spend a lot of time on that, and I know that's one that a lot of y'all are curious about. So if he ends up a Jet, then we can say we heard it here, But it's not anything set in stone,
And that's the most likely destination. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, it's just a logical fit, just like we explained. But that's sometimes we all know with the NFL, a lot of times GMs will do things that we don't really think that make that much logical sense, but they've got all that behind the scenes junk that they got. So
now another place real quick that I heard was interesting, and I see you have somebody else at this team's quarterback position predicted, but I have heard some rumble about the football team actually making a play for Deshaun Watson, which I think would be very interesting.
Ooh, that'd be another really good landing spot. I feel like they've got a defense.
They do. They have a defense. They also have a really good head coach in Ron Rivera.
Yeah, running game.
They also have a running game. They have a stud.
A lot of young wide talent. That's a really good young.
They have a stud tight end that just kind of broke out last year.
Yeah, they've had a lot of guys.
Their offensive line too is kind of. It's not much of an upgrade. I'd like to see him get an upgrade at offensive line for sure. Because I'm really tired of him snapping the ball and immediately having 5 people in his face and him having to scramble every single possession and make a play happen. I'd like to see what this guy can do with some actual protection. So I'd like to see him go to a place with an upgraded line, which of course if he goes to the Jets, good luck with that. But but I just found that interesting because Washington would be a very interesting place to go as well.
Right. Yeah, we'll see what happens there. So Deshaun, we definitely both think will be on the move as the owner. He's gonna want to play hardball. I feel like, or I know he play, but I think he's gonna want to show that he can win without him. Because he's obviously kind of. he was a little stuck up the fact that he doesn't even like go to Watson about anything. He thinks he's above it. So
Yeah.
we'll see. But anyway, the next big name as far as like he got knocked out of the NFC Championship and ended up as a result being all in the headlines. Aaron Rodgers, because of his kind of just like down comments on the Packers. Just I don't know. This isn't a business of absolutes. I don't know what could happen. Like don't.
Right.
I'm not sure if I'll be back, and that of course, sparked a bunch of rumors and stuff. Although this is one I think it's caused a lot of smoke, but I really don't think there's much fire there. I mean,
No.
Aaron Rodgers was an MVP of the league this year. I mean, him and LaFleur might not be best buds, but I feel like if he did that well, they must be on the same page enough to where I don't think it's not like the McCarthy situation. I mean, Rodgers was thriving this year. I mean,
Yeah.
what more could he have asked for?
When is Aaron Rodgers ever best buds with his head coach?
Never, yeah, because he's kind of high maintenance. I mean, he's great, and I think that's kind of what makes him great is he's fueled. Like he's highly motivated, but sometimes it can lead to failure. And I mean, he choked in the fourth quarter. I mean, Tom Brady basically handed it to him on a silver platter, 3 picks in the second half, and he didn't take it.
Yep.
So I mean, to me, he's really got nobody to blame but himself. So I feel like though him and the Packers, I think are definitely going to run it back next year. I was saying this, like I think he run it back in 21, and I think after that, I think he gets dealt because I feel like by then they're going to know what they got with Jordan Love. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Jordan Love, I feel like at that point they're going to either like go with him or I guess just let Rodgers go. Kind of like Brady, Jimmy G. Like kind of one of those scenarios where they might just say, all right, we're going to keep Rodgers till he's older, go with Love. But, I mean, we saw it happen with Brett Favre.
And Brett Favre.
I was going to say, we saw the Packers tend to be an organization that usually goes with the younger guy. We saw what they did with Brett Favre. So, I mean, I know Jordan Love's still a raw prospect. I mean, hell, he's third on the depth chart. Didn't even pass up Tim Boyle. I mean, he looked terrible as a rookie from what they said in practice. He did not look good at all, but I mean, I would expect him with a normal offseason this year to take a big leap. And, I mean, he's going to push Rodgers. I feel like this year, I mean, we knew he wasn't going to push Rodgers. But, I mean, next year, I feel like there's going to be, especially if Rodgers kind of comes back to earth, there'll be some rumblings about him leaving. But, I don't know about you, Josh, but to me, all the trade rumors, like the Rodgers to the Saints and all that, to me, it's just like, that's just silly. I mean, I know we're going to have some crazy scenarios. I mean, hell, look at this board. I mean, we've got all kind of movement, but I mean, as far as Rodgers, I mean, that's just silly. I don't see him moving.
Yeah, Rodgers is going to stay with the Packers. I mean, I'm pretty the GM. I think it was the GM that came out the other day, and I'm paraphrasing when I say this, but he basically said Rodgers is our leader or our star, whatever he said. He's not going anywhere. He's staying with the Pack. I kind of thought a little bit whenever Aaron Rodgers made his first comments that he might be going somewhere. At this point, now he's going to be a Packer next year. I think he might even be a Packer for the next few years.
Yeah, I mean, especially if Jordan Love continues to look crappy. I mean, they might just like, well, we're just they're gonna keep Aaron, and Jordan didn't work out. But I mean,
yeah, I don't see him going anywhere. We can move on from now on.
Yeah,
I think it's a dead deal.
Here's one that we'll probably be talking about for a while, so y'all strap in for this. Matthew Stafford. Yeah. This is
at least for a few days. That looks like it might happen in the next few days.
Yeah, this one's looking like this deal looks like it might go down. Probably, I would think maybe, I don't know, maybe not next few days, but I think right around like the Super Bowl, maybe a little after the Super Bowl, sometime in February. I definitely think something happens with Matt because I mean, I feel like and I feel like he handled it well. He went to Detroit and said, look, I think it's time that we move on. It's time that it's just the time for a new chapter. I mean, and can you really blame the man? I mean, shoot, he's put in a decade plus with the Lions and it's going nowhere. I mean, they make bad decision after bad decision. Like, with Barry Sanders, Calvin Johnson, any great star that they get, they always seem to just screw them over. I mean, they never support their people. It's pitiful. So maybe now that they've got Barry Sanders as an advisor and stuff, hopefully they're getting their stuff together in the front office and can just rebuild. Once they trade Stafford, hopefully they can rebuild this thing with Dan Campbell and stuff and still some toughness there. But it's Detroit, so I mean, it's like I'll be very happy for Matthew Stafford to get out of there, and I think the Colts are the perfect spot. I mean, with Phillip Rivers retiring, they desperately need a quarterback. Jacoby Brissett's a free agent as well. I mean, I mean, shoot, right? Jacob Eason would be their quarterback, and we all know he is not going to be a starting quarterback for anybody next year. So, I mean, the Colts are, and they've got the ammo, they've got a lot of cap space, so I think they'll be able to afford a number one receiver to pair with whoever their new QB is. T.Y. Hilton's a free agent. He'll probably be shown the door. He's on his last legs, it looks like. So, I mean, shoot, Matthew Stafford, I think, would be perfect in this Indy offense, which is on the rise with Frank Reich, and they got a great running game, and Jonathan Taylor, good O-line. So, yeah, I think, I mean, they have some other teams that are going to be bidding, but to me, the Colts are going to have the most ammunition and are also the most logical fit.
Well, we know whoever the Detroit Lions quarterback's going to be. We know they're going to be going to bite some kneecaps. So
To quote the great Dan Campbell.
Yeah, we can be sure of that. But anyway, so this is a situation where yes, the quarterback and the organization both agree it's time to move on, which tells me that they're fielding offers right now, that they're probably on the phone right now with multiple teams, looking up trade scenarios and seeing what they can get back for him. I think it's not crazy at all to think that we're going to see this deal happen before the Super Bowl. Um, I agree with you. I think it's going to be the Colts. I think that's going to be where he ends up landing. I think it's a great spot for him. I really like Matthew Stafford. I really think Matthew Stafford is still an excellent quarterback. He's still relatively young at 31 years old, maybe 32 by the time the season starts. I mean, he's still got possibly 6, 7, 8 years left if he can stay upright, if he can stay off the injury list and go on to a team like the Colts with a really good offensive line. It's very possible that he can stay upright, he can stay off that injury list and stay on the field. I really like the situation for him. Think he's an excellent quarterback. I think it's a perfect match, and honestly, it makes them a contender next year. I really believe it puts a lot of fear into a lot of hearts of teams next year if Matthew Stafford lands on the Colts.
Yeah, most definitely, because he'd be an upgrade over Phillip Rivers, and I mean, shoot, they almost upset the Bills with Phil. I mean,
Yeah.
Phil is still decent. I mean, it was time for him to go. I mean, with 9 kids, he's got he's got stuff bigger than
Yeah,
football to
he's
worry
done.
about.
He's
I
done.
mean, he's just he'll be with his family. So definitely a great career for Phil. I mean, wish him all the best. But yeah, Stafford. I mean, it's like, yeah, I mean, it's there. It's there to go to Indy. I mean, if they don't get him, I don't know. They could maybe be a Watson player, but it's like, to me, they're gonna give up a lot of draft capital to get him, or whatever Detroit wants. They might, a veteran player, whoever they would need, because I think Detroit's gonna probably want to start fresh with a rookie quarterback. I mean, I know Dan Campbell's. They'll bring in a veteran to compete with him, no doubt. And I have a feeling the veteran. I didn't pencil in a veteran here, but like, I know they're gonna bring in like a Fitz Magic or somebody to compete with. Who I think will probably be Zach Wilson, be the third quarterback off the board, who will likely end up with the Lions. Where I think whoever the veteran is will start like the first half of the year, and then once they're like 2-6 or whatever, they'll probably go with the rookie to close it out.
Yeah, I agree, and I like that. I like the idea of Zach Wilson going to the Lions.
Yeah, because I'm not, I don't know a whole lot about Zach Wilson, but he seems like, from what I hear, he's a really talented passer, somebody that could be a kind of like, he's like the third option, like Justin Herbert last year was the third option, and he looked like the best option. So, I mean, hey, the third option, it ended up being the best. So, you don't know. So if I'm a Lions fan, I would hope that, I'm just hoping and praying that the front office can somehow do something right. Look at the Browns did it. Everyone's saying the Browns were never going to be good ever. And this year they won double digit games, made a little playoff run. Look like they've got a quarterback developing there with Baker. So, Detroit, I know it's looking bleak, but don't give up. You never know with the NFL.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got Stafford. That's actually probably not quite. Although, yeah, let's address this rumor, because I feel like this would be really juicy. Like, if this would happen, a potential trade to the Rams, and if that happens, then Jared Goff would likely be in Detroit. That would really shake things up. I feel like, I don't know if it'll happen though, because I know a lot of people are down on Goff, but I think that's a lot of media driven. Like, I don't think McVay's Goff's biggest fan, but shoot, they paid him all that money. And it's like, he did do what he did in the playoffs with a broken thumb, or a surgically repaired thumb. He wasn't really 100%. And he gutted it out and played. You got to tip your cap to Goff for that. So I mean, and he's really not that bad. I mean, he's very inconsistent, which is why I think McVay gets fed up, and I, as a fantasy owner, can't stand him because of his inconsistencies. But usually his end of season stats are usually not too bad. So I have a feeling they might give him one more year unless they can, strike a deal for Stafford that's too good to pass up.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, the biggest problem with moving Jared Goff is finding somebody that's willing to take that contract.
Right, yeah,
I
like
mean,
Carson Wentz. Like, I don't see him going
no,
anywhere
he's
because
not
of that
going anywhere.
contract. Yeah.
And then they got a head coach that's specifically catered, that's going to be specifically there to try to build back Carson Wentz. So I don't think he's going anywhere. But with Jared Goff, yeah, I mean, good luck finding somebody to take on that contract. Even though
Yeah, I don't see Detroit wanting that. I think they'd rather just go with a rookie.
yeah, and I mean, I could see them making a move with Jared Goff, wanting him to go somewhere else, wanting to get a new quarterback in there. But who's going to take that contract? I genuinely
I
don't know.
wouldn't.
No, I wouldn't either. I don't know anybody that would. They don't want it anymore. Like, I mean, like, and they're the dummies that gave it to them. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Like, so even though I think mentally they're ready for a new quarterback, they want to make a move. I just don't know if I'm ready to say that they're going to. I don't know if they're going to be able to. I feel like Jared Goff is probably going to be the starting quarterback again next year. They're going to ride out that horrible contract, and then they're going to part ways.
Right, yeah, I think he'll start next year. And if they do something special, win a Super Bowl type thing, then I mean they'll probably keep him. They'll be like, well, he's our guy. We just took him a little while, but assuming he kind of just does his usual thing and they get bounced in the first round, he'll probably get the axe. They'll probably
Right.
then move on, but it'd be a lot of dead money. But yeah,
Yeah.
we have to do a cap episode at some point, man. We're gonna have a cap expert on here
Yeah.
at
Please
one
bring one
point.
because I sure am not no cap expert when it
I
comes to
know,
the
yeah, it's a
NFL.
lot. Yeah, we're gonna have to look into that for sure, because that's something we're gonna like. We promised a lot of guests. I know we've haven't gotten one yet, but we're still early. Y'all, we're still early, still getting our feet wet. So all right, let's touch on a really spicy take that I feel like could happen, but I will say it's unlikely, but I kind of hope it does, and that's Matt Ryan to the 49ers. Because I feel like, I mean, Matt Ryan with Atlanta has just been, I mean, yeah, he gets his 4,000 yards every year, but it's very just, I mean, it's fantasy friendly, but as far as like it's stale. It's like stale bread. It's like it sucks. I mean, Matt Ryan and the Falcons they're a losing formula. It seems like, unfortunately. I mean, well, as a Saints fan, I'm glad.
Right.
I love it. I hope he stays and they keep sucking. But I mean, I'm just trying to think from his perspective. He's got to be fed up with that organization. I mean, it's like they don't know how to clock management. I mean, he always keeps them in games, but they somehow manage to always butcher the fourth quarter to where he's like, man, he puts in all this work that leads them back. I mean, they should be a 9-10 win team almost every year with their offense, but I mean, usually it's either their defense sucks or they don't know how to manage the game, and it's
But you
always
know what?
something.
I'm actually gonna defend Matt Ryan a little bit here.
Yeah, I mean, I was too. I
I'm
mean, it's
not the
not his
biggest.
fault. I mean,
Right.
that's why I kind of think a change of
I'm
scenery
sorry.
might be
I'm
good.
sorry. I didn't mean to say defend Matt Ryan. I'm actually gonna go against you on this one and
Oh,
say
so you
that
think
some of
it
that
is
is
his
Matt Ryan's
fault?
fault because if you're talking about managing the game, he's definitely a part of that, and he's
Right, yeah, that's
probably
a
a
good
big part of
point.
that because he's been there for so long. I don't know why I said defend. I lost my train of thought. But yeah, no, I absolutely put a lot of that on Matt Ryan because he's been there for a long time, and I feel like they get his input during games as far as managing games, and I feel like a lot of that decision making is on him as well. And so I feel like a big reason as to why it's stale is because of Matt Ryan. And I like Matt Ryan. I think Matt Ryan's a solid quarterback. Like you said, he gets his 4,000 yards every year, but he could be one of those quarterbacks that just he gets the stats, but he can't get the wins. It is
Yeah,
what it is.
he doesn't seem to have the best mental edge. But I tell you all this though, that's why I think him going to the 49ers would be perfect
It'd be
because
nice to see
it'd
a
be
good restart.
reunited
Hmm.
with Kyle Shanahan, who was the coordinator that brought out the best in him. I get it, the 28-3 thing happened, and that's what kind of spoiled that whole deal with them. But I mean, I feel like if it wasn't for that, like, I mean, I think Shanahan might be their head coach now. Like, and he may have stayed, and although I mean the four, but I mean he's done good things with the Niners. I think though he's gonna really, I mean he still really wants Matt Ryan. Like he would definitely want Matt Ryan over Jimmy G because I mean to me
Right.
Jimmy G has been a disaster. I mean I know that last year they did well and went to the Super Bowl, but it was because everything else was good around him. The defense was really good. The skill players were really good. Jimmy G was just kind of there. He was just kind of like
Yeah,
a dude,
but
you
I
know?
wouldn't go as far as say he was a disaster. It's just
Yeah, I mean, when he was a disaster, I
he
mean, he had
did,
everything around him. Matt Ryan in
which is the thing.
Atlanta
He
doesn't
did
have
what
much
they,
around
but he
him. If
did
you
what they
put him in
need.
that 49ers,
Right,
they'll win
right.
double-digit games.
Of course, you can say with an upgraded quarterback, they possibly could have won that. They probably would have won that Super Bowl. It's very possible. But Jimmy G basically did what they needed him to do. And would they be so willing to give up assets to upgrade him? I don't know. Because I mean, we didn't see him last year. We don't know if he got any better or any worse. If
Yeah,
I'm
he played a few games, but he was kind of banged
if
up.
I'm
It
the
just didn't help.
49ers, I'm not gonna give up important assets to possibly make an upgrade. Yeah, I don't know what they'd have to give to Matt Ryan, but I wouldn't give up
Yeah, and it'd
any.
be a big cap hit. That's
Yeah,
another reason why I think it might. If it wasn't for the cap hit, I think it'd be a lot better chance. But the reason I was saying, I admit it's a really spicy take that if
right.
I'm being real, probably won't happen just because like it's the money. You know, the money probably won't line up. Where like Garoppolo's on a pretty team friendly deal where they
Right.
can move on from him with no strings attached. Ryan is going to create a lot of dead money moving him. So I
Which is
just
why I do think we'll see Jimmy G be the quarterback for the Niners, and I think we'll still see Matt Ryan be the quarterback for the Falcons for at least one more year, and then maybe after next year we'll see what happens.
Okay, it's just the only thing though that I think this deal could happen though is I think the Falcons, Arthur Blank hinted at it after he had another disaster season, is that he's like nobody's safe, you know, like Matt Ryan, Julio, we might trade them both, you know, and he's just seems like that kind of, he's kind of like almost like a Jerry Jones, and I'm not saying he's that bad, but I think he's the kind of owner that he goes on the field and stuff like he's one of those like emotional owners to where he might tell the front office, look, we need to shake things up. And if the front office falls in love with one of those rookies, I mean they have a high pick, so I mean in this
That's
scenario they
possible.
have Justin Fields landing in Atlanta because I mean with the Jets, I mean if they get Deshaun Watson, they're definitely not going to be worried about another quarterback. So I mean in this scenario they might end up with Justin Fields, who I mean I mean I know Trevor's a clear cut top guy, but I mean Lawrence, I mean Fields is close, you know, as being he's one of the like he's a clear cut number two, so I feel like Atlanta might decide it's time to move on from Matt and start fresh, and that Justin Fields to me would be the best they could do as far as that, you know, because I mean he's one of the he's not up there with Trevor like I said, but I feel like he's somebody he'll be an above average quarterback with upside for more.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously a lot of this is going to depend on what happens with that Deshaun Watson thing. Because if the Jets don't get Deshaun Watson, you're looking at the Jets could possibly draft Justin
They
Fields if they want.
probably will.
And then what are you looking at with the Falcons? Are you looking at them getting Zach
Yeah, so I
Wilson
think they'll
or
kind
you know
of
what I'm
let
saying?
all
Like,
this dust settle here before
yeah,
they would move Matt Ryan.
a lot of stuff's going to be
Another
happening.
wrinkle with Matt Ryan, I believe, I'm no cap expert, but I'm pretty sure I read that they wouldn't want to move him until the summertime. So in this case, I mean, if they do draft Fields, they would probably have them both on the roster. Which I mean, Ryan is old, you know, so I mean, it could be like, well, it's kind of like you know, Rodgers and Love are both on the roster, so like, but it would be a little awkward. So I mean, they would definitely probably be wanting to move Matt Ryan if they would actually go through and draft Fields. But like I said, it's kind of just out there. But hey, I mean, that's kind of what this shows. That we're trying to just come up with different scenarios and see if they stick, and if it does, well.
Right. I mean
Justin
that
Fields of the Falcons, that could be one that
depending on where Deshaun goes is where that's going to be.
yeah,
That's
that's the first domino.
yeah,
I feel
because
like.
that's
Well,
gonna.
the Stafford will be, but I mean that's pretty. To me, it's
But
pretty
yeah, but
predictable
Deshaun will
where
be
he
the
goes.
big
But
one
Watson, pooh, yeah, definitely,
because that'll
definitely, that's gonna
yeah.
send shockwaves through the league if he gets dealt. Like I said, yeah, if he doesn't get dealt, if he gets stuck on Houston, and a lot of this, pretty much this whole episode will just kind of be just kind of like just hogwash. But I mean,
Yeah.
if he gets dealt, y'all look out. There's gonna be some fire with that smoke.
Yep.
So yeah, let's see. Oh yeah, Dak Prescott could be potentially on the move as well because I
I
mean
think he stays.
he's an
I think
unrestricted
he'll
free
stay.
agent. I mean, and Jerry and that has not been pretty.
No, it
Jerry
hasn't.
Jones and that
It
they've
hasn't.
butchered that in my opinion. It's like, what do you want to? Are you gonna keep him or not keep him? It's like you got to make a decision here. I mean, this is a guy. Do you really value him as a franchise quarterback? If so, lock him up. If you don't, trade him, because now you risk with the franchise tag bull crap. Now you risk like you might get left holding the bag and not end up getting much for him. If you do another tag thing, I mean, it's only one. I don't know what. It's ugly. I mean, I would think though Jerry is so like ridiculously loyal. He's loyal that the fact that it hurts him.
Well, unfortunately,
And so I think he's gonna go ahead and pay Dak the big money, and that's just they're gonna have no money left on it for anything else. It's just gonna be Dak, Zeke, and pile of crap basically.
So unfortunately for Dak Prescott with the injury, not only was the injury bad, obviously he has to rehab to that. We hope that we see a fully healthy Dak by the time camp comes and everything and the season starts. But unfortunately for him, that means that basically gives Jerry Jones another solid reason to franchise tag him again, because now he can say, well, look, you were hurt last year. Now I want to see you come out this year. We want to make sure your injury's good. We want to make sure you're healthy. And we want to make sure that you come back. Right. And I agree with you. But I feel like that's possibly what's going to happen. He's going to franchise tag him, and he's going to be able to say, yeah, of course I'm going to do it this time. I want to see what he's got. I want to make sure he's still the same Dak Prescott that he was before the injury. And I think it gives him a way out to be able to basically hold on to him for another year before having to make that tough decision. Especially with everything happening this offseason with the quarterbacks, with all this possible craziness that could be happening, it wouldn't surprise me at all if they franchise tag him again.
Right on. Okay. Let's get to the Saints. I mean, that's one that's kind of interesting because I know this is one that we're gonna disagree on, because I think Taysom Hill is a legitimate NFL quarterback, starting quarterback. I know I get a lot of shit for this because a lot of people tell me that Taysom Hill is a joke, that he's Tim Tebow Jr. and all that. Man, stop hating. Taysom Hill is somebody that's got room for growth. I'm all about room for growth, striving for growth, and he's somebody that's really shown a lot of growth. And so I look at trends, and he's a guy that's trending up in my book. So I want somebody that's trending up as my quarterback. I don't want somebody that's on the back nine of their career, which, I mean, Matt Stafford, some people are saying he could end up with the Saints. Cool, but, I mean, he's had back issues in the past. He's over 30. I mean, I don't want to give up a bunch of assets for Matthew Stafford. I really don't. I don't think that would be a very smart move, considering the Saints are going to be in cap hell these next few years, potentially, if they don't play their cards right. To me, this is the year you've been kicking the can with Breeze all these years. We're going to defer money here, defer money there, restructure this, restructure that. Well, at a certain point, you got to own it and kind of just, eat the money and start over. And I think this is the year they finally just have to swallow the bitter pill, which is Breeze's dead money. Which, I mean, Breeze hadn't technically retired, so Drew could, Drew's still on there. I mean, hey, Drew could be in the mix if he would shockingly decide to come back, but I really don't see that happening. I don't know. What do you think, Josh? Drew comes back, runs it back again.
Okay.
With his 11 broken ribs and his torn rotator cuff. Yeah, he's gonna run it back.
Drew will be in the broadcast booth next year, making good money and living his best life.
Yes, enjoy your time with your wife and kids, Drew. You deserve it, man.
I can't believe that you're gonna make me shit all over Taysom Hill right here. Because all
right, man, bring it on.
I love the guy, I really do, and I think the games he came in last year, he did what he was supposed to do, and he did a good job at it. But room for growth. This man is 31 years old. There's no more room for growth. This man is what he is. He is a bruiser. He is a runner. And he's not an accurate thrower. He's never going to be an accurate thrower. I hate to say it. He's never going to be an accurate thrower of the football enough to where he can be a starting quarterback for all 16 games of the season. It's not going to happen. I love the guy. I saw everything I needed to see in those games. That notion's done with. Our starting quarterback needs to be Jameis Winston next year. We need to see what we have with that. We need to let him come in. Give him a year. Just give him 1 year. And let's see what he's got. And if he sucks, let him go next year. Who cares? Bye. Gone. But we got to at least give this man a chance. He is a vastly better thrower of the football than Taysom Hill is. And Jameis can run the ball a little bit. And then we can still have Taysom as our gadget guy, which is what he has shown to be absolutely perfect and sensational at. But if we try to force Taysom Hill to be our starting quarterback, I don't see it being anything more than just a mediocre football season for the New Orleans Saints.
I got you. Yeah, I mean, he makes some fair points. I mean, I know I love Taysom Hill, but I mean, I do have to. I mean, he isn't like he's
He's
not
not
a
24. Look,
prodigy. I
if he
mean,
was
I'm not
23
trying to
years old,
make
I
a
would agree
case
with
that
you.
he's some prodigy savior franchise quarterback for the next decade. No, I'm not an idiot. I'm not delusional. I feel like this though. I feel like he's somebody that if he keeps learning the system, like keeps. I mean, he's buddy with. I mean, he's Peyton's pet basically. I mean, I feel like he can handle the offense for sure. And I just feel like though Jameis Winston is it's a disaster written all over it. It's got disaster written all over it. He's a turnover. I mean, people complain about Taysom Hill's turnover. Look at Jameis Winston. I mean, he's the epitome of
But
a
we haven't
turnover
seen Jameis since he
machine.
had his eye surgery. I still want to see what he's got.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I know they
I
bring up
don't think
about the
it's
eye
crazy.
surgery
Yeah,
thing.
I don't think it's
I just
crazy to
don't
think that he
really.
could come back and limit his turnover, especially in our offense.
Well, this is what kind of alarmed me. The fact that, well, why didn't he play when Drew was out this year? How come Peyton turned the keys
I
over to
agree with you.
Taysom Hill?
I
To
don't
me,
know
that's a
why.
sign that Taysom Hill's Peyton prefers him.
Well, I think I agree with some other people that say what I'm about to say because I'm not saying this myself, but I do agree with it. I think that Sean Payton is hard headed, and I think that he wanted to show everybody, no matter which one of these two was performing better in practice, it was going to be Taysom Hill because Taysom Hill is his guy, and he wanted to show
Right,
everybody
that's
that
what
I
I
can win
mean.
games with Taysom Hill. He showed that, but the problem is that Taysom Hill's been in this offense for a few years now, so what else is he supposed to learn about our system? He knows our system like the back of his
So you
hand.
think it's just Jameis didn't know the system well enough?
I think it's a mixture of Jameis probably didn't know the system well enough, and Taysom, like I said, he wants to prove he can win games with Taysom. But we saw when Taysom was in, we saw yes, we won a couple games with him, but that's not gonna work for 16 games. If he starts for 16 games, it's going to be a mediocre season because he's not going to learn more about the system. He knows all about the system. He's not going to become a more accurate passer. He's been in the league for God knows how long now, and he's 31. He's going to be 32 by the time the season starts, I believe. What we see is what we get with Taysom Hill. I could be wrong. Like I get that I could be absolutely wrong. I could be shitting myself over this next year, and if I am, I will be the first one to get on this show, and I will humbly say that I'm absolutely wrong about it. I just don't see Taysom Hill being anything different than what we've seen from him so far. At least with Jameis, there is a question mark of he had eye surgery. We know he didn't know the system. I just want to see what he's got. We know that he's a better talent than Taysom Hill. He's a better thrower of football. It is what like there's no denying that. He's much more talented than Taysom Hill as an actual quarterback. If he can limit the turnovers, which I believe he already would, being a part of our system, because our system is better than the Buccaneers system was when Jameis was there. All right, so that alone is going to cause him to drop the turnovers because he's not just going to be chucking the ball down the field all the time. We like to throw intermediate passes. And I think Taysom can, and I think Jameis can handle that. So I think automatically his turnovers would decrease from that. And yes, I'm curious to see if the eye surgery did indeed make a big impact for him, or maybe it didn't do
No.
shit. I don't know. But I'd like to. I just want to see, even if it's for half a season, and then first half he sucks. All right, let's bring in Taysom. At least we know. At least we can get that notion out of the way and be like, all right, cool. Jameis didn't work at all. At the end of the season, we're gonna let him go. Bye. Go do what you gotta do somewhere else, and then maybe we can see if Taysom can be any better. But I don't see that happening. I think Jameis is going to be our starting cornerback, and I think we're gonna see what he's got.
All right, all right. I just say, oh, be careful what you wish for. That's all I know. Be careful what you wish for. Man, James Winston, I just feel like it's such a disaster. But I mean, because I feel like though he's the type, yeah, he'll have some big games and get people's hopes up. I feel like Taysom will be, yeah, he won't be as pretty, but I feel like we'll have the Saints. I mean, just be real. I mean, for any Saints people, I know we have a lot of Saints people that listen. Like, the Saints are not gonna look good on paper next year because of all the cap
I'm curious to see what all they're going
cuts
to keep.
and moves. Like it's not. They're gonna have to win. They're gonna have to play gritty, old school football and grind out wins. It's not gonna be like the days where we just. It's like I think we've gotten spoiled these past few years. I know the playoff runs haven't panned out, but I mean the regular seasons. We've had a lot of glorious regular season wins. And in large part, it's because I mean we had a great foundation in place, which I mean we'll still have a lot of those key pieces back, but I mean it was just with Drew gone and stuff most likely. I mean I think 99% likely. I mean with all that factored in, I mean, it's not going to be as easy to get veterans. It's going to be a lot more young players, and I don't know. I just feel like with all that, like just all these moving parts, I feel like it's just like perfect for Taysom to come in, take over for a year or two, see what he can do, and then hopefully once Taysom, I have a feeling eventually Taysom, he runs so hard now he's just gonna run himself into the ground. Like once he's like can't do it anymore, hopefully by then the Saints will have developed a rookie quarterback. Like, Sean Payton, the quarterback whisper, he called Patrick Mahomes breakout. Hopefully he can find the next Patrick Mahomes.
That would be nice.
Oh, so yeah, that's that. Oh, but speaking of the potential next Patrick Mahomes, Trevor Lawrence, y'all. I mean, he looks like the ultimate can't miss prospect. He's the biggest draft lock. A lot of people are saying he's been the biggest draft lock since Andrew Luck, and I believe it. I mean, he checks all the boxes. I mean, he can even run a little bit. I mean, he's got a cannon on him. He's got the height. I mean. He's got it. He's got the it factor. He's a winner. He's got all the intangibles you'd want. He's smart. He's just like a prodigy. It looks like, and the only thing I worry about, man, the Urban Meyer thing. Is that really gonna work? I just don't know. I mean, and so far some of the assistants they've hired don't look all that promising, and I don't care for that owner in Jacksonville. I have a feeling this Trevor Lawrence thing. I mean, maybe Herb will be like the Jim Harbaugh with the 49ers and bring immediate success right from being a college coach, but I don't know. It might end up a Saban thing as well. We don't know how Herb's gonna do, but I mean, I feel like though Lawrence, if it don't work out, could end up like Deshaun Watson wanting out in a few years. But I mean, I don't know. I feel like with the Jags, it could work. It might be a flop, but I do know this. I feel like as long as they have like a somewhat competent O-line, Trevor Lawrence is gonna put up some big numbers in the coming years.
So I might get some hate for this. I'm not as big on Trevor Lawrence as a lot of people are, and here's
Why
why.
not?
I think he's being overhyped. I think he's very talented. I think you. I'm not saying you don't draft him first. You clearly draft him first. I think he's clearly better than any other quarterback in this league. But this notion that I'm hearing that he's supposed to be the next Andrew Luck is just wild to me. I don't know. I don't see exactly what everyone else sees in him. I think he's very talented. I'm not ready to say that I think he's a generational type quarterback just yet. But I mean, we're talking about this guy is supposed to be the best. I even heard some people saying he's the best prospect since John Elway. What?
Yeah, because Elway had the height,
I mean,
the arm.
am I crazy that he didn't win the national championship 2 years ago and he didn't even make it to the national championship this past year? And I'm supposed to believe that this guy is coming in like I don't know, man. I think he's being overhyped. He's going again to a shit organization as well that has really nothing for him. I mean, they have a decent looking running back. We'll see what he does next year. He kind of came out of nowhere.
Oh yeah, he took him 12th overall in that mock draft last week.
But also in that draft, I said we'll see what he does next year. Like that may have been too high. I don't know if I'm going to be drafting him there by the time that the real drafts come. And then you have a good young wide receiver in DJ Shark, but that's it. That's it. I mean, what else is it?
They've got a ton of cap space.
They do have a ton of cap space.
We'll
see what they can get, but man,
I'm more concerned about the coaching staff
that too.
The talent around
that's another question mark too. Like I don't know. This notion that he is just undeniable, can't miss, unreal talent coming in. I don't know, man. I'm not seeing it yet. Hey, go ahead, go out there and prove me wrong, Trevor. But we'll see. I
think he will for him. Although I ask you, I know you love you some Joe Burrow. If you had to start a team right now, who would you think?
Joe Burrow.
Come on. Look, I mean, I like Joe too, but I would have to take Trevor.
I'm gonna say this right now. Joe Burrow. Yes, I'm gonna be a little biased towards Joe Burrow.
Joe probably.
But I really like Trevor Lawrence too. I really love watching him in Clemson. But here's the deal: the one time that they faced off against each other, what happened? Joe Burrow annihilated.
Yeah, they won. Right? They had that historically good offense.
But let's not act like they had crazy amounts more talent than Clemson did. Yes, they had arguably the best. You can argue they were the best college football team that we've ever seen. All right, but Clemson is always stacked with talent, and they didn't just beat them by 7 points. They beat the shit out of him.
What
Okay,
receivers though does Trevor have? I mean, freaking Burrow, he had Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson and like Terrence Marshall. I don't even think we
man,
did that
I
much that
genuinely
year.
wish I could remember
I mean,
that,
they
that
had
names, but
so much. I
I
mean,
don't keep up with
Clemson. I'm not
Clemson
saying they don't
wide
have talent, but I mean, compared to what Burrow had, I mean, I will say this: though, Burrow probably has like a little bit more it factor. Like he's not as physically gifted, but he's almost kind of has like that. Similar like Brady, like just that it factor, like he's
right.
very like
So I
cool
think
under pressure. But to me, just like physically talent, like physical talent and pure everything else, like talent wise, Trevor to me
I mean,
checks all the boxes,
going back
and
to your
that's why I
question,
would go
but
with
that's the
him.
thing. I think Joe Burrow checks all the boxes as well. Now, Trevor Lawrence, I think, has a stronger arm than Joe Burrow, but I think Joe Burrow is a lot smarter. He has a higher IQ than Trevor. So
Though Trevor's got a good IQ, I've
he
never
does,
seen
but
where he
I
makes
believe
a
that
lot
Joe
of mental
Burrow,
blunders.
I believe that Joe Burrow is significantly higher, and I think,
Ooh,
and that's why.
I don't think it's enough higher to just jump him over Trevor. That's just
See, yeah,
my.
well, and but that to me, that ultimately is the difference of if you're going to pick Joe Burrow or you're going to pick Trevor Lawrence. I do think he does. That's why I would pick Joe Burrow. You think Trevor Lawrence does. That's why you would pick Trevor Lawrence.
Right.
And I'm sure a lot of people would. I'll probably be in the minority with that. More people would probably be on your side with that. But I don't know, man. I mean, look, Joe
Yeah, it'll be
Burrow looked
interesting. I
really
mean, they're
good when he was
both
on the
on.
field.
Yeah, they're both in kind of both on sucky teams. So we'll see if
Right.
they can lead those Bengals and Jags teams that have never won the Super Bowl to potential promised land, or if they'll get
Yeah.
fed up after a few years and one out, and
Now
then
I don't know if
maybe
either one
go
of them
there.
will
I
be
don't
able to
know.
go to Super Bowl because I mean you got to go through Patrick Mahomes, you got to go through Josh Allen now who's coming
Yeah,
up.
but Justin Herbert, if the
Yeah,
Chargers turn it
and there's no
around, I
telling if
mean,
Deshaun's going to stay in the AFC or not.
right.
So I don't know if they'll be able to get to the Super Bowl with those trash teams that they have around them. But I mean, we'll see.
Right. Yeah, and then that's kind of. I mean, those are all the. That was pretty much all the
Yeah,
spicy stuff. I mean, we got Jimmy G might end up on the move. You think he's staying, but I think if he does end up on the move, the Patriots would be a great landing spot for him. Reunite with the hood. I mean, not many people can do it with Belichick. He's just not really. He's not a player's coach. I mean, but I mean, Garoppolo though did well in his system. It seemed like he was wanting them to keep him instead of Brady, and the owner ended up wanting Brady, but then it still ended up in an ugly divorce. So it was just
yeah.
maybe should have kept Jimmy. Although I don't know. I
If he
feel
does
like
go on the move, yeah, I could absolutely see him going to the Patriots for sure.
right, yeah, because maybe they should have traded Brady then and gotten a lot of assets instead of having it to where. Because although I think they did win a ring or two after, yeah, the 20, yeah, they did get a ring, yeah. So it's like you got a ring out of it. So I don't know if they'd have won that ring with Jimmy G. So
Right.
because I mean Jimmy G is not anywhere close to Tom. I mean let's just be honest.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean it's about it. Some people say maybe the Giants, but I mean I think Danny Dimes stays at least one more year. Same with Drew Lock. I've heard rumors that both of them could be outs, like if they would Broncos or Giants would swing trades for Deshaun or Stafford. But I mean,
I'm okay with both of them getting one more year.
yeah, I mean neither one looked that great, but I mean they both kind of had adverse circumstances. It's not like they've getting handed everything on a silver platter. They both had. I mean, Locke lost his number one receiver this year for the season. Basically, the Jones lost Saquon. I mean, it's like they both have reasons why they struggled. Cam Newton potential another name in the hat. I think he could reunite potentially with Ron Rivera. It's just. I mean, Alex Smith, though, still on the books. I mean, he could be back. Taylor Heineke, freaking big
That's
postseason
what they need
game.
to
Like,
do. They need to let Heineke. They do. They need to give him a shot. I think he earned himself a shot with that one
oh,
game. Absolutely.
wow. Okay. I mean, I think they
Absolutely.
might let him compete, but I mean, I feel like that could be. You could bring in Cam. I mean, you could have Cam, Heineke, Alex Smith, and I mean,
I just feel
let
like
the
with
best
Cam,
man win. And
with
if Cam sucks, you can just
well,
cut
that's the
him and
thing.
just be a 1 year incentive based
I
deal.
feel like with Cam, it's a dead move. Why? That just seems like
Because
it's
of
just
the
a waste to me.
familiarity with Ron Rivera, so, and if it don't work, well then, I mean, then
Cam
Ron
Newton
Rivera, well,
sucks.
sorry, man,
Cam Newton sucks.
yeah,
It's time to move
I
on
think
from
he's
that.
just too injured. He might end up just hanging it up, honestly. I
That's
mean,
what he should do. He should just hang it up.
yeah, I mean, it took him forever to sign. I think Ron, though, might do him a favor and bring him into camp, and just see what he's got. And if he looks really good and healthy, then I mean, well, he'll get a steal. But I mean, the odds of that, I'd say, are slim to none. So,
Yeah.
I think he gets brought in since he's familiar with Riverboat, but yeah, I don't think he'd start much. I think, and with Alex Smith being kind of brittle, like I think that Heineke, it might be the Heineke show.
Yeah, I think they should let him at least start and keep Alex Smith on the back burner. And if Heineke doesn't work out, then you start Alex Smith, and then
Yeah, because
for your next quarterback after that.
Alex Smith, it's like, I mean, if you cut him, it'd probably be some dead money, and it's like no one's gonna. I mean, I don't. I mean, I know he's a good feel good story, but no one's gonna actually want to
Yeah.
trade for Alex Smith. I
Right, and
mean,
with Heineke, look, I get that it was one game. I also get that it was a playoff game where, um, he might have been playing above his expectations because he himself might have just been super ready and amped up for that game. But I think that it gives you enough to be able to say, hey, look, I'm gonna let him try. I'm gonna give him a shot next year. And sure, if he comes back down to earth in the regular season and he's just sucky or mediocre, then yeah, you go back to Alex Smith and then you start looking for your next quarterback. But I think he earned himself a shot to at least give it a shot.
yep. And then the Bears probably gonna have a new quarterback. I have a feeling. I mean, Jameis, they would have to offer him a good chunk of change more than the Saints. I think the Saints will try to bring him back. I feel like though if they offer him like 1 year in the 15 to 20 million range, he might leave because I mean I think the Bears might be like, well, damn, this dude's learned under Breeze and Peyton this year. Yeah, like the LASIK eye surgery. Maybe this guy could save. If I'm Matt Nagy, I'm trying to sign somebody to save my job because it sure as hell won't be Mitchell Trubisky. You know, what I mean, they're gonna have to make a change. I feel like, and Nick Foles isn't the answer either. So I feel like if bringing a guy like Jameis on a 1 year incentive based deal, or if Jameis would be like, nah, I don't want any part of that and go back to the Saints, they could try to swing a trade and get Derek Carr. I've heard he's the Raiders. Him and John Gruden have never really been on the same page. Although the Raiders, it's kind of like Carr's not that great, but who else are they going to get? I
Right.
mean, there's
Yeah.
really unless
That's
they
the
could
thing.
try to swing something for Dak Prescott, but I mean
I mean,
I don't think
they
that's
could
happening. I mean, I
potentially.
think they're just gonna kind of be stuck with Carr. There's really not much out there that would work for them. They're just kind of one of those. It's kind of like the black hole. It's like a black hole.
I
I don't
mean,
think people are too anxious to want to go play for John Gruden.
they could potentially try something at the trade deadline. Maybe even if Carson Wentz does start beasting with that new coach, you can maybe make an offer for Jalen Hurts if you're the Raiders and see if you can maybe snag him from there. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you could maybe try something because I mean, I don't think they want Carr long term, but he might have to stick around another year unless they could get a good haul in return for him. And maybe if they trade him to the Bears, they bring in Mitchell Trubisky, which I mean, he'll find a home somewhere, but I
Yeah, possible.
would not want him as my starter. But I guess you never know what could happen with all that. And then Teddy Bridgewater might be on the move, from what I'm hearing. Apparently, the Panthers weren't too happy with him. I mean, the last week of the year against the Saints, he got benched. I mean, so I don't know. I think I don't. It's another situation. I don't think they're happy with him, but I think they might end up stuck with him, kind of like the Raiders with Carr. But if they can find a way to move on, I definitely think they will because
Well,
I think they regret giving Teddy that contract last
they're
offseason.
another team that's in play for Deshaun. So I
Oh
mean,
yeah, that way Teddy, you go, you are good as gone, buddy.
so I mean, again, it's one of those
If
things where
that would
we have to
happen,
wait and see
man.
what happens with Deshaun Watson before really being able to start picking and choosing where we think people because because there's no telling where that dude's gonna go.
Exactly, and then the Steelers signed Dwayne Haskins to a futures contract or some crap. So I mean, this is just so Steelers got to do something at quarterback. I mean, yeah, Big Ben, they're gonna restructure him. I'm sure bring him back for another year, but Mason Rudolph is terrible as a backup. Dwayne Haskins sucks. Pittsburgh, y'all got to bring in something here. You can't have Ben retire and then have a competition of Rudolph and Haskins. That is
Yeah,
garbage.
no, that won't be the case.
No, Pittsburgh, yeah,
They'll
they're a
make a move.
smart team. No, they'll figure something out, I'm
I think
sure.
Big Ben will come back and play another year at
Oh yeah,
least.
he will. I'm just saying, like once
But
he goes after next year, what for 2022? I mean, you can't have these two
no,
yahoos
it won't
fighting it
be.
out.
It won't be.
Yeah, they're gonna have to
They'll
bring
probably
in
cut
some.
Dwayne Haskins. I'm sure.
Yeah, I would think. I mean, I think Dak could be a stealer in 20. Maybe if he plays, one more year in Jerry World, and then they won't be able to franchise him anymore. Maybe then Pittsburgh, or once Ben's off the books, will come in and scoop up Dak to be their franchise QB.
Yep.
Which would make sense, being that the Steelers are a tradition of excellence. I'm sure they'll be able to attract a really good quarterback to come there.
Oh yeah.
And then again, the rookies. I mean, we touched on the big three. Other ones in the mix that could be in the starting mix. Trey Lance from North Dakota State has a lot of upside. I don't know if he'll start right out the chute
I
next
doubt it.
year. Which yeah, he's kind of raw, but he's definitely somebody to keep an eye on. And then the other two, the SEC darlings that got a lot of hype, but I don't see either one making it as a starter next year. Mac Jones and Kyle Trask, and it's for opposite reasons. Jones, it's just being, I don't think he's got the arm. He's a smart, cerebral quarterback from what they say, but it sounds like he's got a kind of a noodle arm. And Trask is the opposite there. He's kind of a meathead, great arm, but just not there. He's kind of like a poor man Sam Darnold, basically. So, yeah, I think they'll both get drafted in the second or third round, but definitely won't be day one starters.
Yeah, they'll be projects. See if there's anything.
Yep. So, all right. Any early Super Bowl thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know who to pick.
I know who I'm picking.
Basically
Chiefs.
For me right now, I'm leaning towards the Chiefs, and every time I feel confident, I see another injury pop up.
That is true. I think it might be closer than we're thinking. I mean, I think the Chiefs will win the game, but if for betting people, the Bucks might be the better bet because I have a feeling the Chiefs are probably pretty big favorites, given that the Bucks were 5 seed, weren't even expected to get past the divisional round, much less go to the Super Bowl.
And I mean, they're up to two offensive linemen and 1 linebacker down, so that's pretty significant. But I am still slightly leaning towards the Chiefs. I'll have my better answer next week.
Right, a little teaser for next week.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm not betting against this man right here. That's all.
Exactly. But you can. My problem is you can say that for both quarterbacks, and that's what's tough about this.
Well, the thing with this one, he is the GOAT, but he's 43, so.
But he's here. He made it. Trust me. I agree, and I said that all playoffs.
Picks.
He did, but they still made it. He still had such a good first half that he was still able to hang on to that lead. I mean. Look, he still looks pretty damn good. Yes, he had some bad plays, and I was the first one to be critical of those bad plays. But he still had an amazing first half last week and still looked every bit of prime Tom Brady in that first half. And then, he had a bad second half. Will that happen? If he throws 3 picks against the Chiefs, they're going to lose.
Yeah.
But do I think he's going to throw 3 picks? No, I don't. And I don't know, man. I'm literally on the fence right now. I don't know who I want to pick in this game right now because I feel stupid for betting against either one of them, and it's tough. But I'll have that pick by next week for sure.
Right on, same here. Yeah, and for all those Tom Brady GOAT lovers, I mean, I will admit that he's most likely the GOAT just when you look at all the accomplishments and stats and everything. But it's just I don't say this. I don't think he's the undisputed GOAT like most of these mainstream people act like. They're like, oh, we're not even close. Well, I mean, what about Peyton Manning? What about Drew Brees? I mean, what about Joe Montana, Dan Marino? I mean, it's like there's a lot of great quarterbacks. I mean, Brady's just always happened to have the best teams around him, which, I mean, it's a product of him. It's not, you can't just say it's all I mean, he's a big part of that, but, I mean, it's definitely, we could have a whole show about who's the GOAT. I mean,
because I've never been the biggest Brady fan, but I'm at the point where I'm ready to say he's the GOAT, especially after what he did this year. Leaving Belichick, going to a brand new team. Yes, he has a lot of talent around him, but he's like you said, he's 43 years old, so he still wasn't supposed to make the Super Bowl, and he still did it. So I'm at the point I'm surrendering. He's the GOAT, man.
Yeah, I'd say I probably have to as well, man. I probably have to as well. I mean, because it's just you can't really make to me the other arguments just don't really hold up. I mean, I could listen to other arguments, but to me the Brady argument's gonna win. So. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely, this is going to be wild, y'all. If all this been, there's going to be major fantasy implications, which we'll get to on the episodes coming up, because like we said, I mean, I know some of y'all already mock drafting, which, I mean, hell, we did a 2-round mock last week, but definitely don't be stressing about fantasy. This is a time to just, just, chill and just observe it, kind of see what's going on, talk, and just kind of bounce ideas, but definitely...
It's definitely the Super Bowl.
Yes, it's definitely not the time to be wanting to do I see some of these people already wanting to do full mocks and all this. I'm like, bro, you're wasting your energy. I feel like, but well, I mean, if some people are just they'd say they go harder than me. So all right, that's cool.
That's not even going. That's just dumb. But anyways, what are you going hard for?
That's like someone saying he's got a new car and they're just they're driving, they flooring it it's like, dude, you're not proving anything. You're just burning rubber. You're just messing yourself over.
We'll see at the end of the year.
But yeah, definitely not a bad idea though. I kind of view it as But yeah, football, like I enjoy my football, and like some people enjoy their nice car. You know, it's definitely though, you don't want to just put the car in the garage and park it for 6 months. You definitely want to take it out for a spin every now and again. So yeah, we're gonna have a lot more content for y'all in these next few weeks, months, years. We're in it for the long haul. We're in it for the long haul. We're gonna be here a while, so y'all just sit back and enjoy it. So all right, Guru Nation, really appreciate everyone that tuned in. Appreciate it. Peace out.
What time did we start?